Hi, this is Dan Whitney with the Whitney Law Firm in Towson, Maryland. Today we're going to talk about how many treatments are needed for bed bugs. So I've been a lawyer for about 10 years. I have sued many hotels and apartment complexes in cases involving bed bug infestations. And a lot of those cases arise out of not enough treatments were done or the treatments were improperly applied. And a big question that comes up in these cases is how many treatments do you need for bed bugs? So there's two main types of treatments that get done. The first is the heat treatment. A heat treatment is much more expensive, can be thousands of dollars, but if it's done correctly, you may only need one heat treatment. On the other hand, there are chemical treatments, which is a much more common method of treatment, especially in apartment complexes. And if that's done correctly, it will usually take 2 to 3 chemical treatments over a period of between 10 to 14 days between each treatment. So first treatment, then another, and then if necessary, another. 3 should get it done. But what you got to keep in mind is those chemical treatments need to be done in connection with the adjacent units being inspected for bed bugs, and if an infestation is found in those other units, that has to be properly treated as well. Now, what happens a lot is negligent landlords, especially in places like Baltimore City where there's a lot of low-income housing, and other areas like that, especially Section 8 housing sees a lot of these problems. These landlords and more typically slumlords will hire the lowest bidder pest control company to come in and treat, except they don't really treat the right way. They may come in, be present for a few minutes, spray some chemicals, walk out and call it a day without really doing a thorough inspection or inspecting the adjacent units for bed bugs. And what will happen is the landlord will say to their tenant who keeps complaining, look, we've had so-and-so pest control company out here 8 times. They say they don't find any bed bugs and they've treated 8 times. Of course, the problem is those 8 treatments are usually worthless because they're not being done properly and often not being done with the adjacent inspections occurring at the same time, which gives you the benefit of usually determining where that infestation may be coming from. So, in short, if chemical treatments are being done properly, you're looking at 2, maybe 3 that typically gets the infestation dealt with, unless it's a particularly heavy or entrenched infestation, which can happen, especially when ineffective treatments are done that drive the bugs further into the cracks and crevices of an apartment. Now, with the heat treatment, going back to what I touched on at the beginning, if one heat treatment is done correctly, that can also often fix or solve the infestation. But in connection with that heat treatment, what should be done is a chemical barrier should be applied around the border of the apartment. So as the heat comes on and the bed bugs begin to flee, they go through that chemical barrier, which will then either instantly on contact or over time kill the bugs, and that would help get rid of the entire infestation, the ones that got burned to death, and also the ones that fled but then went through the chemicals. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have any more questions about how many treatments does it take to treat bed bugs, please leave a comment and I'll do a video on it if I can. Thank you for watching, and if this has been helpful, please feel free to give a thumbs up or leave a comment. Again, I'm Dan Whitney with the Whitney Law Firm in Towson, and if you've got a bed bug issue in Maryland, please don't hesitate to reach out and give us a call for your free consultation. Thanks a lot. Take care.